Okay, so first of all, we will have to start by setting the mood for this whole exercising. And no matter what you start, when you start exercising, you always want to create a separation from your everyday life. And that happens when you start creating the mood. So start creating slow figure eights, going forward and side, back and forward and back and forward and side, back. You keep going on your own, so I can speak a little bit about this. So in your imagination, imagine that you're sitting with your chair actually at the front of the ocean with your feet in the water. The water is caressing your feet and you perceiving the wind coming towards you and you absorbing the entire ocean as it waves, and you try to simulate this entire feeling inside of your body with these waves. So the water element of the body is loose and natural, and you absorbing this vibration from the ocean. That's what you're trying to create here. Once everything is relaxed and the body settles into the middle, then we can start with the next thing. Stop in the center, palms up around your neck, behind your skull, underneath your skull. Lift your elbows up, and then low figure eights, going down 8 counts and up 8 counts, and go to the right, and very loose bodies, separating bone from bone, muscle from muscle, loosening your spine and letting your organs relax inside as if you gently massaging everything, the entire body, inside and outside, but adding a nice little rhythm to your breathing. Now going up. It doesn't have to be by count, it's just a natural. Don't ever count. I have to do this sometimes as we're working with groups, so everybody knows when and how to stop or start. And going down. Right now I can't even count because I'm talking and I forget the numbers anyhow. So we go just by feeling, going down and down. Moving your lower back, sitting on the sit bone from one side to the other, going up, and this time go a little bit higher up until you can see the sky above you, looking out more from the top of your chest and the throat center, and going down. Now a real deep curve, push with your legs against the floor, so you are grounding more and moving from the lumbar spine. Yeah? Feel the sacrum moving, going up and all the way up into the biggest arch, and then we will start arching. Curl, stop in the center, going to the right, and up, and exhale deep and inhale deep, and up, and up, and one more set, and just slightly faster, up, and up, and semicircle, and 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 last one, and come up to center, bring your arms down on your belly, and start the stimulation of the biological pump. And going back first, and it's like starting on engine, warming up the engine, narrowing of the pelvis, grounding, moving your feet in and out. Stimulating it just above the pubic bone. So it's a slight contraction into the curve. And as if you're kindling fire inside there. Go a little faster, and last one. Come up, bring your arms down to the side, and now we start with the real movement, as if you're gathering energy from the earth, bringing it up to heavens, and then releasing energy back to the earth what you have picked up. So it's digging. Picking up energy from the earth, bringing it into you, and from up there, from heavens. Last one, the next move, and as if you're creating your wings, and watch each other. Last one, palms together, and very deep exhalation, squeezing breath, narrowing of the pelvis, and pushing everything to the center and creating a real strong physical strength, especially in the spine, the entire torso, and grounding, creating the base, a very strong base. The last one, exhale deep, release it, open up. Arms open, lower your arm, Sebastian, a little bit, and Erika, open it up a little more. creating a pyramid center in the body. And breathing. As if you're sending shocks down into your belly to stimulate the life force over there. Like you're throwing a pebble in the middle of the lake, and then the wave starts moving to the shore and rebounding back to the center from there. Last one, exhale deeply, take a deep breath, gathering. Bring your energy down. Creating very small figure eights. And in the same time as you're doing this, imagine the deepest possible sound that you might have ever heard, and then go even further, as if the earth is speaking to you from underneath, from the very, very core of it. What would be the sound if that comes and it penetrates your body to give you strength and support from the base, from underneath? Listen and imagine that sound. And try to give it life inside of you. It's like an emotion, almost like an emotion bubbling up. That it is a tremendous, tremendous power. Stop in the center and let your body wobble, but let your spine grow, especially in the back of your neck. The throat a little bit withdrawing. And then we are moving up towards the heart center now, strengthening the heart, the lungs, and the upper chamber of the body. So let's go with the eagle combination. Arms up and looking up, looking down. Last one, and bringing your energy higher and higher up in the body. It's traveling from the base and filling up the upper chamber from where we're going to move higher. Last one, bring your palms together and exhale deeply, open up, and Hold that position as in surrender. That's the feeling what you want to emanate. But no weakness, just surrendering to the will of nature, the will of the universe, and trying or perceiving the creative force of the universe. So the palms are receiving and perceiving. Exhale deep. And take a deep breath. Gather all that. Take it inside you. Pour it down inside you and on your body. Almost invisible figure eights, so you can feel very clearly the entire left side, right side, and where the exchange is happening. The first exchange is really, really low in the belly. As you're sitting from sit bone to sit bone, creating the spirals inside to travel up in the fifth line. And then stop in the center. And imagine the calmest sound of your heart. The calmest, most beautiful feelings that you can induce over there, but it is still throbbing with life. Listen to your heart singing in there. And now we're moving a step up through the throat center to the head and above, swimming. And small first. Like you're swimming upstream against a waterfall, yeah? First with less strength, and then just give it more life, more strength. To your fullest. Extend yourself, not just your arm, but the torso. Stay together. Very deep exhalation, like a wind coming out of your body. And circling above your head, like you're creating a bigger and a bigger aura around yourself, bigger space. Expand yourself. Loose bodies. The weight at the end of your hands. The entire body breathing, not just the lungs, not just the mouth, not just the nose. And then go up, like you're creating two holes in the sky, intertwining up there. Keep spiraling up, up. Is not local, but traveling up into infinity. And palms together. And back to grounding. Exhale deeply. Keep exhaling, exhaling. More. Take a deep breath. And swallow your breath. Bring it down. Ground yourself all the way. Pour your energy down and out of your legs as you're resting. The figure eight is now only imaginary. It only happens inside of your body when it happens. Like a kind of a drunkenness, lightheadedness, evaporating from the top of your head. And bring your arms up. Look out in between this triangle in the fingers. Start the breathing, then I explain. Looking out through your eyes as if it is only one eye, is the third eye stimulation, but looking in such a way that you're not really looking, but rather let the universe look back into you, space looking into you. Like little children, when they look at you, they are just absorbing you and absorbing everything. They are not yet looking with intent. They just absorbing. So here it is the same thing. If you look too intently, you stop energy to pour inside you. And this is rather opening than pushing. Like gazing into space and space gazing into you. Exhale deep. Take a deep breath. And let your energy pour down again so that you can ground yourself well. Like a funnel open on the top of your head. Energy going out and in at the same time. And as if you're listening to the music of the spheres, which doesn't really have a sound, or it does a sound, but it is not really a sound that we know of. Finishing up with huge waves so that you remain in this realm, and start small, we go for small and then increasing speed and go a little bigger, a little faster. Little bigger, little faster, deeper breathing. the biggest of your capacity, but not faster, just the biggest. And deeper breathing, really expelling. Last one, stop in the center. And now with a little strength from all over, compacting towards the center, stand up. Little distance between the two legs. Knee circles because we've been sitting for such a long time. And reverse it, and reverse it a little faster, and reverse, and straighten up. Walk around your chairs to the right. Ankle circles, about 7 inches between the two legs. And go, and up, and up, and up, and reverse it, and a little faster, and 4, and just stay there. And we're going for the knee to forehead, small at first, bigger and faster afterwards. Ready? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Change. Exhale. Inhale in the back. 5, 6, 7, 8, and bigger a little, and change, and 1, change, and bigger, and change, and 6, and 7, and finish. Stand up. Spread your legs a little bit, palms on your belly, and just shifting weight from side to side, slow, as if you immersing yourself into the ground, pushing downwards, with a little stomping so you can push your whole strength down into the earth, and feeling where the changes inside of the body happening. Smaller and smaller, so you come like a statue inside. Stay in the center, but a loose statue, like a living tree. Bring your arms down. Just let your breath sink down into the body. And
my name is Matt Aversa. I'd like to welcome you to Miami, here sitting with Julia Horvath, gyrokinesis creator. We're excited to launch this new series of DVDs here, and we thought it was appropriate for Julia to share a little bit about each one and about the underlying principles of his methodology.
Not really about each tape separately, but perhaps I just want to elaborate a little bit on the principles of the breathing, what follows the exercises. So the basic understanding of the principle is that when the body expands, it inhales. When it contracts, naturally it exhales. However, there is a little problem here, is a catch, because every time one part expands, the other side contracts naturally. So now how do you adjust this breathing principle? For instance, if I'm doing a spiral, the upper body is expanding and the lower body should be contracting. So how do I do over here that I'm utilizing the breathing for the expansion or the breathing for the contraction part of the body? Yeah, so it all depends, because if I need more relaxation and not such a strong movement, then I favor inhalation at the extreme of the movement. But if I want to have more strength, then I favor the contraction side of the body. So I'm utilizing an exhalation. However, that is going to stop me to go and completely fulfill the cycle of the spiral. But I'm gaining strength in the lower part of the body. So sometimes you want to experiment with this. One time you can do it with inhale, and other times exhale. When you do the exhalation, however, you want to make it a little bit shallow so the contraction is not so strong as to prevent the movement from happening. For instance, like we do in the beginning with the arch and curve, where we're utilizing the double breath, where we go inhale, exhale, exhale. So this exhalation actually gives me an accent for the body and a strength to support the entire spine. And if I'm utilizing the just inhale, it will expand, but it will be softer. Both are good, and just you want to know when you utilize one aspect and when you're utilizing the other aspect. Another example would be the sideways arch, right? So if I'm going in a sideways arch, naturally here I'm totally expanded and not enough contracted, so it will be on inhalation. But as soon as I'm going to the other side, I need a support system. So I'm going to utilize the contraction part of the body because the expansion already has happened. So this is the basic principle. And if they can follow, if everybody can follow the breathing patterns as prescribed in the tape, then everything is going to work perfectly.
So there's always that contrast happening.
Yeah, well, there is a contrast, and there is always a little bit of, you might say it, contradiction. Because sometimes people said, oh, but you said in the extension or expansion you should inhale and in the contraction exhale. But as I just explained, there is always two sides in the body. So one side is always in extension and the other side is in a contraction. Just to know when you're utilizing what and how do you want to support the element that you need more. If you want to have more relaxation, obviously you're going to inhale at the end of the movement, but you will not have that much strength for support. However, when you want to create a strength at the base, then you would utilize the exhalation at the end of the movement, and maybe the movement is not going to be to such an extreme. But in the meantime, you can give an accentuation to it.
So in one of our DVDs we're launching, Spinal Essentials, it's the most basic movements, the foundation of the system. So for those who at home who are new to this, if their capacity is not as that of a dancer, they can utilize these principles in the spinal essential.
It is always depending of how big or how small you do the movement. What is important, the rhythm. Whether you do minimal movement in an arch and curl, this much, just very, very small, but the rhythm is what is going to create the breaking down process of the body that eventually gives more, and it creates a health. You don't want to go to extreme always. I don't go to the extreme because my age is also advancing and my strength is somewhat how should I say, diminishes, maybe is not the right word, but is less than when I've been 20-year-old, obviously. So when I'm utilizing this system for my relaxation, I can watch TV and just kind of undulate my body. The movement happens, the stimulation happens, and the aerobic capacity, because it's always underlined any movement with breathing. So I'm exercising even watching TV. It doesn't have to be a chore. It doesn't have to be what you call work. It should be more part of your entertainment. Every day it's just like taking a shower. But again, the shower should not be a chore. It should be a pleasurable experience.
So with that in mind, if you bought this DVD, you've seen the cover, and you see this drawing, this energetic drawing Giulio drew many, many years ago. For you to get to that place,
then it can become work, but it's only when you want to continuously compete with your own self. And when you don't know the mystery beyond, of course, it's always a struggle. So in the beginning there was a lot of struggle, and you have to put the effort. It's not when you want to go to this other dimension of experiencing energetics and, I don't know, open up for inspiration, or that is an effort to start with.
So your process to get to that, when you were able to draw that after you experienced that, how long of a process was that?
It's a long process, but not everybody has to go there and needs to go there. It's enough if you take care of your health and your well-being, and then leave the others for those who are a little bit masochistic like myself, I used to be, and like sports people who wants to perform. But this is not for performance. This is for well-being, as I explained. So it is no performance involved. It's just understand, like you sing a song in your shower, right? You have a melody, you have a rhythm in that, and you're taking your shower and you're splashing your body. The same way should be this one. Of course, because we filmed it and they've been practicing, these people, for a long time, so now they excel and they look as if they are really working, and they do a little bit because they are a little bit nervous in front of the camera and just to be together. But like in a class situation, for instance, or when you do it for yourself, you should be singing inside there. Your breathing should be the melody of your movement.
So there's pleasure. So now I'm going to switch a little bit to one of the things we're featuring in our DVDs is the cardiovascular stimulation, because in today's world we think of cardiovascular as standing on a treadmill doing one very simple an undynamic kind of movement for a certain period of time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to burn calories. From my experience and being around you all these years, cardiovascular is a totally different experience and a kind of a different understanding than the modern world's cardiovascular.
Well, it's like we are talking about stimulation. That's why I'm call it a cardiovascular stimulation. Is not to scare your heart out of the chest. You know, it has to beat a little bit faster naturally with the movement as you breathe and as you move, but it has to coincide with the circulation that is happening inside of your body. So it is not pushing the heart for work, but rather allow the heart to participate in this program, what you're doing. So it is a very gentle cardiovascular stimulation. Of course, I can speed it up to a level where you suffocate basically, because if you want real cardiovascular, meaning where your blood should flow like crazy or your heart should beat as if it is scared, but we don't really want to do that. To me, that is not really health. If you go out on a boardwalk like here in Miami, for instance, and you watch people jogging, or look at the faces, they are always in a suffering mood, always in a struggling mood. So how can that be good? And their bodies sometimes look like as if they are really, really hurting, and yet they're pushing and pushing and pushing, thinking that they're doing something good for themselves. That's not good. If you do in a gentle way, you should be able to do it for as long as you live, and even when you are sick, even when you're ill, you should be able to continue to do this, because it is not aggressive. It is more like a, I would say, passive aggressive. I don't know if the word is right, but it is more passive exercising than really aggression coming through.
So you're going to see in these movements, in these cardiovascular movements, the whole body's participating. And you often talk about, our heart is here, but people are doing cardiovascular at the leg level, running on that treadmill. And you often talk about how the arms and the stimulation of the upper body as well.
It's like you have to look at this more like a clockwork. The heart of the clock is the entire clock. You have a watch. You can't say this reel should not move, only the big reels should move, or this reel. You can't separate one from each other, because the participation of all the reels, of all the mechanism inside, is what creating the precise circulation of the clock of the tick, tack, tick, tack. And the same is with your organs. The participation of the entire body and the entire structure is what creates well-being and health. Not just having leg muscles or biceps or triceps or who knows what everybody wants. It is well-being means the entire structure works harmoniously. It's like an orchestration. It's not like one instrument. It's an orchestration.
So it's more efficient. You don't, and as far as time is concerned, people are going to get more out of it in say a less amount of time if they were doing one repetitive motion.
Yeah, it's like, of course, you can choose one that you prefer, just if you are growing towards performance. Let's say you are a dancer and you have to perform, or you're a skater, or you are a gymnast. There is no escape. Over there you have to work for performance. But this is geared for well-being. And even this gymnast, dancers, this performance needs somewhere a relaxation, that this overused musculature, overused body can relax and regenerate, because regeneration is the point over here. Not destroying, not extracting. It's like you have money in the bank. You stimulate it, but always putting it a little bit more instead of taking the whole thing out, and then what happens? It's an empty bank. And until it fills up again, it's very difficult. No, it's rather take a little, put back a little, take a little, put back a little. And in fact, this is putting money in your bank account, not taking out.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the breathing. We have a long breathing segment and a shorter breathing segment. And there's some aspects of the breathing where there are certain arm positions.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Where you're here,
Right.
and there's different intentions in behind each one. Can you talk a little bit about those? Because people are going to be sitting there and practicing these
Right.
exercises. And
So there are many aspects to this. One aspect is symbolism in it. It symbolizes a growth process, meaning you're going from the lower to the higher. But it is not just that. It is also how you connect your strength softening it with your heart center, where there is a little bit more love towards yourself as well. And then opening up for inspiration, because people are always thinking aggressively. They want to attain, achieve, and this. But how do you get inspired when you are so aggressive? So you have to soften that part of your being where your mind become perceptive, your body become perceptive. So the first symbolizes the strength of the earth, because that's where we are growing from. It's like a big tree trunk coming. It needs the nourishment of the earth. It needs the power of the earth. And that's where we're coming from. The heart center softens your aggression, softens that energy, and use it constructively. Use it as how now it just doesn't come. The word doesn't come to me now, but constructive energy instead of just using it for aggression and power and pushing and pulling and so on. And the third, it symbolizes, as I explained it over there, the children, how children can grow. This is how they can absorb, and this is how they are so smart when they are young and can remember everything and they see everything, because they are still absorbent. They are not aggressive outwardly, continuously going out. They're also going in.
Receiving.
They are still receiving, perceptive mood, yes. So these are basically the
An alignment and a harmony between all the centers.
right, and of course, each one stimulates a different part of your body, because by holding your hands in this way downwards, it creates a pyramid structure inside of the body. The weight is grounded downwards. This opening, it symbolizes more a surrender and an opening of your heart and a softening of all of this energy. And in the same times, if you hold the position long enough, is like wings. Can you imagine a bird, what kind of a strength it needs to fly?
Eagle.
The eagle, for instance, and you are building wings. So when we're working to go beyond your limitation, depending how long you hold these positions, most of the time I can see that people start sweating and shaking and they just cannot hold it anymore,
Like
because they do
through.
not understand. Yeah, because the energy is not, the pathway is not open yet. So to open the pathways completely, you have to wait it out. Meaning, first comes the shaking and the jittering, and then if you can go beyond that, because it comes with pain and aches
Fatigue,
and
yeah.
fatigue, and if you can go beyond that, that's when it opens up. So it will take a long time. I have all these dancers, all these sports people, these karate people, but they cannot hold the position as long as I do, because they do not understand the relaxation involved in it. Plus, their pathway inside is not open. So it all depends. If I'm holding my hands here, with the circulation wants to go, but we are going only this way, because your arms are always down. So now, to be able to go against this pressure that is coming from above, it's a difficult task.
So I know you're offering specifically some of these breathing workshops down here in Miami for a lot of the certified trainers and things. So when you're out there and you're in front of the class, you're experiencing these things. You're going to a place of that uncomfortness, and you're passing through it. Because
to me, it's not so much the uncomfort anymore, because I can hold the positions much longer. I practiced for long times. It's more like giving the strength to the class for those who follow, to take them beyond their limitation, because if I am not doing it in front of them, they are going to stop way prematurely.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the beginning there is a little struggle with this, and
in your own body, in your physical.
not really for my own body. It is a struggle for them.
Yeah.
I'm creating over here the general who doesn't just say go ahead, but say follow me. So I have to do it, and I have to do it better and stronger and longer. So naturally, I have to pull 100 people behind me. Is not as easy as when I'm doing it just by myself. because then I don't have to think of anybody, then I just do it for myself, me and nature together. But here we have to pull a whole bunch of natures together to follow and create this hub that they're going to follow, because why would they follow something that doesn't look appealing? Yeah? So I have to make myself bigger, larger, so I exaggerate sometimes just to make this momentum for the other people.
I have nothing else. That was
Well, I hope this is going to give some answers to some people, and of course I must say that this structure have to be learned. It cannot be just by viewing the screen and follow it. You first have to learn it. The screen gives you a follow-up, basically. So once you learn the structures, you have to go to an instructor to understand where the breathing happens, how the positioning happening, and all of that. So I strongly suggest anybody who is taking this up, you cannot just follow
so there
it from
are
the
quite
thing.
a few now training centers throughout the world that offer gyrotonic and gyrokinesis methodologies where you can supplement your training on your DVD with the class participation.
Yeah, there is all over the world, and there are many good instructors out there. You just have to find where it's like a friend. You don't create a friendship just by going and, hey, I'm going out and find a friend. A friendship happens through conversation and an exchange of energy between two partners. So you have to find the teacher that becomes a friend of yours.
And for those who may not be able to get to a class or get to a trainer, by doing the work, by following the DVDs, there's going to be some benefit there as
There
well.
are going to be some benefits, of course. I'm getting letters all the time from people who has never seen me, and they doing the exercises with me in the past when I have been doing actually in front of them, and they say, oh, they feel so good and everything feels so imagine if you feel so good when you don't know what you're doing, how good you're going to feel when you know what you're doing. So yes, of course there will be benefits, but it's always a
To
much
refine
deeper-
it, a refinement,
Exactly.
a deeper level of refinement with it. That's with anything when you have a teacher who is well trained to
Absolutely.
guide you. So
Absolutely.
I have nothing else for today. I'd like to thank you for joining us, and we ask that you enjoy those DVDs.
I thank you for listening, and I hope you find a good use for these DVDs. Thank you.
Thank you.